There's been a lot of talk over the years about the dangers of the California patch when repairing drywall. I even had someone tell me just flat out, if you use one, you're asking for disaster. The story goes that if someone hangs a TV or a heavy shelf on a wall where there's a California patch hiding behind one of the anchors, it'll rip out and come crashing down. Now, are these spots really in danger of failing? Could a patch cause someone to lose an expensive TV or some heirloom on a shelf? Add to that the comments that I read online about the so-called drywall experts with 30 years experience on YouTube saying the same thing. So you know what? There's only one way to settle this. Let's give the California patch a stress test to see if they are in danger of failing. Let's get started. Now maybe you've done some drywall repair and used a California patch, or maybe you've had someone else use it in your home. A handyman, a drywall repair person, or even a carpenter. Now I've installed a lot of California patches over the years, both in my own homes and for customers. And I'll be honest, it started to bother me. I started getting concerned thinking, is the patches that I've done for so long going to fail on me over time? This is not going to be a step-by-step how-to video on making a California patch, but instead we're going to stress test it and find out if there's really a danger of it failing under the stress of something heavy. So the claim is this: a California patch should never be used if the hole that you're repairing is higher than 4 feet on the wall or larger than 4 by 4 inches. They say anything beyond that and you have to use backing boards or it will fail. Well, let's see if that's true. So here's the plan. I'll cut a 7-inch by 7-inch hole that surpasses their 4 by 4 claim in the drywall. And I'm going to make a California patch, then put it to the test. Now, before we get there, there are some important rules to doing a California patch the right way. Number 1, cut the hole clean. I like using a multi-tool because drywall saws like this, they're really jagged and they leave the edges jagged and thin. And you need to have solid edges. If you're using a 1/2-inch drywall or you're cutting into it, that hole on that repair area needs to be a 1/2 inch all the way. Now the next thing is you need to leave at least an 1/8 to 1/4 inch gap between your patch and the hole cut in the drywall on each side. And the reason for that is so you can get mud between the patch and the drywall. That's real important to get a good adhesion of the patch, the mud, and the existing drywall. The next important thing is apply enough mud around the edges to get squeeze out behind the patch and under the paper. Now, I know you can't look behind the wall like the way we're looking at this wall of this demonstration. But if you put enough of your mud in there and push it through, you're going to get a good squeeze out. That's what's going to make a strong patch. The next rule is to make sure the edges of the hole are solid and they're not chipped or paper thin. And that's why I said, when you cut it with something like the multi-tool, you're going to get a good strong edge. It's not going to be chipped or it's not going to be paper thin. Next rule is use hot mud or fast setting mud. It dries harder and stronger than all-purpose mud, and it dries quicker. So you can get the patch put on there and at least get a coat of mud on the top of it. Now the next important step is to make sure the paper edges of your California patch are at least 1.5 inches wide for a strong bond. You need to get some mud underneath there, and if it's less than 1.5 inches, you have less bonding and less adhesion to your existing drywall. Now the next important rule is don't overpress and squeeze out all the mud from behind the paper on your drywall patch. If you do that, you're not going to get a good bonding to your existing drywall. Another good rule is I like 1 coat of hot mud, then 2 coats of either all-purpose or lightweight mud over the top. It works out better and you get a good bonding to your existing drywall. So done right, by following these rules, this patch should be as strong as the original drywall. Now comes the fun part. Let's go ahead and give this thing a test. It's been 2 days to allow this a good, fair test to make it solid. And now let's go ahead and hang some weight on it and see if it fails. Okay, so this is the back of our test area. You can see our studs that are 16-inch on center. We've got our drywall. These are our test patches. Since we can't see exactly where the patch is on the other side because they've been finished with drywall mud, I'm going to find the exact center, pre-drill it so we can find the exact center on the outside, and then we'll put our screw inside there to do our test. So let's pre-drill it. So we're going to use a toggle bolt since this holds a large amount of weight, and we're going to use this angle bracket on both of them. And now we're going to put in our toggle bolt. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, so these are going to be our weights we're going to test on here. And it goes from 10 to 50 pounds depending on where you put this inside of here. So if you want 20 pounds, we'll slide this in here. It pulls up 20 pounds worth. 40 pounds, and so forth. So we'll just keep adding on more weight to see how strong these patches are. So let's pull this out. 10 pounds, nothing. I don't feel anything on that. I think we can jump it up quite a bit. Okay, this is going to be 30 pounds. £30 looks like no problem. Now we're going to jump up to 40 pounds. And let's check 40 pounds. £40 looks good. Not a problem with that. Okay, 50 pounds. And with this angle here, it's giving it even more leverage pulling on it. So that's 50 pounds. I don't hear any creaking. I don't see any problem around here. Let's look at the back side real quick. So this is 50 pounds on this one, just a California patch by itself. 50 pounds is holding great with the toggle bolt. Okay, now remember these toggle bolts are an 1/8 inch. And as you can see here, they're not huge. They're rated at actually up to 55 pounds, is what the box said. So this is 50 pounds, so they're doing really good. I don't see any stress on there. But let's go ahead and just keep putting more on there and see what it's going to do. Because I know some people will put huge TVs on the wall. These 80-inch plus massive flat screen TVs that takes 2 people to lift, plus a wall mount. So far it's pretty impressive. I'm happy to see it's holding up that good. So these are 15 pounds each. So we've got 50. So this will be 65 total. And remember, this is the size of our California patch. So it goes from here to here. And if this is the center of it, up to here. So I don't see any stress cracks or anything. From the side, it's still flat, no bowing. Okay, 65, let's move up to 80 pounds. Put in the comments how much you think this thing is going to hold. 80 pounds. Oh, something moved. I think that was just my wire stretching. There's 80 pounds. I don't see any problem with that. Now it is bending my bracket a little bit, but the bracket I'm not so concerned about. I'm concerned about the wall, and that's doing really good. So this is 80, 80. This is 90. Well, I can see my bracket bending a little bit. Let's go for 100. 100 pounds on one toggle bolt or wing bolt. Whoa. I saw it move. You see my bracket moving? Let's get a close-up on that. So this is 90 pounds so far. I'm going to put this other 10 pound, make it up to 100 pounds. And you can see the bracket bend when I do that. So that's 100 pounds right there. So this is 100 pounds. This would be 108. I hear a lot of noise movement there. It's like you're in a submarine that's too deep. Okay, that's really bending the bracket now. 108. Let's try make it 116. Well, oh, I think just it moved. But it's just the bracket that moved and my wire bent a little bit straighter. 116 pounds on one toggle bolt with the California patch at 7 inches by 7 inches. Now I did let this set for 2 days before I painted it. There you go, 116 pounds on one toggle bolt. I think that's a pretty good test. I wasn't concerned whether the bolt could hold. I was more concerned whether the patch could hold. That's what the test is here. So let's take this off. Let's go ahead and look at the patch from the front and the back and see if there's any cracks or anything. We'll get some close-ups. So you can see from the side here how it bent the angle bracket. Let's zoom in closer on that. It looks pretty good. I mean, sure, the bracket's bent, but with a stronger bracket, it would definitely hold up a TV or whatever shelf or everything you had on there with just one toggle bolt. So let's get a closer look behind the scenes and see if there's any cracking going on the hot mud. So this is the very back of it. Let's zoom in a little bit, get a close up. I don't see any failure anywhere around it. You can see it pulled the toggle in a little bit, but other than that, that's expected. 116 pounds on it. And here's the patch. I'm trying to pull it back and forth, and I don't see any movement on here. Now, since we were here, we haven't tested this one yet with the backing. I don't see anything, but since we've already done it, let's go ahead and put the 116 pounds on it. Okay, 116. I knew if that held, this was definitely going to hold, but since we had it, I wanted just to make sure. You never know. So let's take that off. Let's look at this one, and let's come up with a conclusion. Of a lot of the myths that we hear about the California patch. Okay, so for the final test, I'm going to take a 4-pound hammer and hit this from the back side, our California patch. Go ahead and break it out and just see how well it holds. So we'll watch it from both sides. Let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so if you look at the back side, it broke in the middle, but where we had our hot patch, our hot mud around here, let's break that off of there. It's still solid. So the secret is putting enough mud between your patch and the drywall. And if you look at the front side, you can see where the mud that was on the outside came off, but the patch is still solid. It's pretty impressive. So that breaks a lot of the myths saying that the California patch is not good unless you have backing behind it, which doesn't make it a California patch. So there it is. Take a look. No cracks, no movement, no give at all. It's solid. So the myth is busted. So there you see. A California patch can hold up if it's installed properly. If you go by these rules, the California patch is a safe way to do a wall repair on drywall. If you found this test helpful, hit that like button. It helps the channel more than you know. And if you've got your own story about the California patches or drywall repairs gone good or bad, hey, drop it down in the comments below. I try to read every one of them, and it helps the whole community by learning from other people with other different ways to do things. And don't forget, I've got more videos on drywall, on tools, on repair tips that'll save you time and money. I'll put a list up in the corner up here so you can watch them. It might be just the video that you need for the project that you're working on or you're getting ready to work on. And don't forget to share these videos with other people so it can help them in doing their repairs that they have. And as always, I leave links down below in the description for all the products that I use or ones that I recommend that I know are good. But I also encourage you to support your local hardware store, especially the mom and pop stores, whenever you can. It helps the community, it helps them out, and it helps you out for getting more personal service than you would at some of the big chain or box stores. So thanks for watching. You take care, and God bless.